launching this project is that it will lead to us becoming the indispensable contemporary art cultural organization in the state. There's a lot of great work that's happening here. We feel that due to the investment that's happened with this facility, with our plans, that this is incumbent upon us to make sure that we do the work, we put the work in to make it indispensable for our state, for our region. This is the next big thing for Oklahoma.
Whereas all of our ceramics programs had to happen in basically one space at the old site, now we have dedicated spaces for different types of clay work. Want to see it?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's do it. We've got two main spaces for our ceramics program. This is our hand building studio, and here is our wheel throwing studio. We also have...
How many wheels do you have?
We have a total of 14 wheels here. We also have additional wheels that are in different parts of the studio space. In our old space, as you probably know, we really only had the ability to do one thing at a time. And with this new design, we can have two classes happening simultaneously. We can have independent studio with people working on the wheels over here or on this corner. We can have glazing happening, firing. So the way that the layout works, as well as the flow that we're planning for our classes, just allows us to do much more than we could previously. And ceramics was one of the programs that had a wait list. There were always a lot of people interested that wouldn't be able to sign up class to class, particularly for things like beginning wheel throwing. So this space allows us to just do more. We've got classes for people who are advanced, as well as people who are brand new, have never touched a paintbrush, have never worked with clay, haven't done a two-step. So we've got all kinds of experiences, learning experiences for people regardless of their ability.
And I guess, is that the goal of the organization? I mean, is that really sort of the vision or the mission, is to sort of provide the arts for as wide a swath of humanity as possible?
Absolutely. We believe that art is for everybody. And if you're going to follow through on that mission, you have to be very careful in terms of how you program and how you reach out to people, and how you create different avenues of access for our programs. It's one of the reasons that we're free. The mission will always be free. We provide scholarships for youth. We have different programs that are inspired by different creative movements, different ideas, different disciplines. Not every person will be interested in all that we're doing, which is one of the reasons why we're so diverse in our programming. We're looking to create connections creatively for anybody who lives in our community or who's visiting from out of town. This is our glaze space. It allows multiple people to work at the same time on glazing everything. Much more organized than we were able to have in our old space. We had actually about the same footprint that we have here, but the space wasn't really purpose-built, so it was inefficiently used, and this way we're able to really maximize each space. Kilns here, all new. These are our electric kilns. These are all cone 10, so it's high fire for those who are interested in ceramics. As far as we know, this is the only publicly accessible soda kiln in the region. What you see is the result of one firing. We've done one test firing in this kiln. It came out really nicely. David, our ceramics studio manager, was really pleased with the result. You see these holes here. At a certain point in the firing process, salt or soda ash is introduced into the kiln. The molecules separate and bond directly to the ceramic surfaces. So as David describes it, you can see the fire tracing its way through the ceramic object. And that's something we did not have this capability at the last space. And everybody who's in the ceramics community has been growing with excitement about this. We've got some regional interest, not just locally, but people who want to come try this out, take a class or a workshop. We also have a natural dyeing class that we're starting as part of our spring session in studio school. So the capabilities of this space are really flexible.
You guys have enough space in here that you could shear sheep if you wanted.
We could. That's a great idea. I'm gonna mention that to Adrian.
We're gonna have 2 years of exploration as we figure out what can be done in these spaces.
That's right.
So I love your ideas. We welcome them all.
And you're inviting people to
Submit proposals. There's a spot on our website where you go and can submit a proposal for a class, and we evaluate them all.
We won't know until the public comes through. So that will really be the determining factor. Once people start interacting with the space, we'll see if our plans are operating in the way that we thought they would, or if we need to make some adjustments or change to accommodate the way people are accessing the space. But I think the hard part is explaining to people what it is that we're doing now versus what we used to do. The mission is the same, it's just the dramatic expansion facilitates so much more in terms of the quality and the level of work that we can present, classes that we can provide, and you can't really experience that with a story that we tell. You really have to come see it for yourself.
Plus, we're also going to have a number of different reasons for people to come visit the center. We will have a restaurant, a nice cafe.
Right.
We will have a retail shop. We have great event spaces. And so people will be coming to us for reasons different from the fairgrounds, and that should feed our programming over time. So it's all unknown.
Just about 5 years ago, we had a total of around 2,500 visitors to the Art Center in a 12-year period. There have been previous years where there were spikes and there were more than that or less than that, but we kind of reached a lower point in that period. After we implemented a programming plan and then a business plan predicated on that programming plan and rolled that out in 2017, between that time and say 2015 to last year, we went from around 2,500, 3,000 to almost 30,000 visitors a year. So a 10x increase based on our new programming, and we view that as a proof of concept for what we're going to be able to do here, moving from that 30,000 number to over 100,000 visitors a year, and moving from previously offering 12 classes per session to offering almost 50 for the spring session. We have facilities now for early childhood. We have facilities for a teen arts council and teen arts programming. We have multiple gallery spaces for exhibitions. We have a much more dynamic and capable theater facility for the presentation of performances and public programs. So all of that, the facilities combined with our planning and all of the work that we've been doing to create special experiences, exhibitions, installations, we know that the momentum is on our side, and we're responding to demand. The demand is there, we just have to provide the supply.
So you're looking forward to doing something that's complementary of what's in the community already, as opposed to
Well, since
doing something that they're already doing.
Duplicating efforts. Since we started, there are fewer adult arts classes and fewer institutions that are hosting workshops and classes. So really, the demand has increased, but the availability of classes has actually gone down a little bit. So hopefully with what we're doing, we'll be able to fill that void. We're a crossroads or a nexus for creative collaboration. So anything that we do, we're looking to find partners in the community that can help us make our programming better or add a different or a new dimension to what we do. That's evident in the Reflections program supported by the Kirkpatrick Family Fund with 13 different organizations around the city and in Edmond participating in our opening. And that helps to highlight the diversity of creative and artistic programming that's happening in our community and the great amount of cultural production that exists. We can't do it all, but we can definitely provide a connection point for different organizations to come together to collaborate, make some new experiences and exhibitions and things for the public. Thursday is the big opening celebration. We've been selling tickets. I think 1,000 people are coming. So
that's a lot of people.
It is.
That's twice as many people as you've had.
That is correct.
And you'll be serving, well, it looks like coffee.
Good coffee, good cocktails, and a really fun,
Contemporary comfort food.
Contemporary comfort food, yeah. I've been pushing the portobello mushroom Reuben until they're sick of hearing about it, but I'm telling you, it is that good.
And ready to hear about it.
There's Garrett.
I've had a store before of my own in California, but this is feels like my better child. I'm really proud of the fact that we've got some incredible artists that have a direct link to Oklahoma that I think local people in Oklahoma may not have heard of, but they're actually making some incredible work that's reached the hands of people all over the world. One artist in particular is Simpiwe Bonuza, who is a Norman-based ceramicist. He's from South Africa originally. So that's Jake Fowler, who's in Tulsa, who makes, he does everything from furniture to, cutting boards and beautiful.
I want to say he was in art now at some point.
Yeah, he might have been. We have Solare, which is a women-owned retailer in the plaza, and this is kind of their first foray into their own in-house line. Another one is Steady Bags, which is Brian Couchman. He's a graphic designer by day, but he's an avid bicyclist. We've got Penny Candy Books here, which are just Oklahoma City based by Chad Reynolds. They're, the books are for kids and they're adults, is what he says. We have the Matt Goad print, which is just beautiful. Matt is busy as an artist as he is. he was ecstatic to work with us, and so we have this custom limited run print.
Volume reading library full of books on art, architecture, design, performance. This is a space where the public can come in, have a seat, work on their computer, take a book off the shelf, thumb through it, learn a little bit more about what's happening in contemporary art.
Something you're referring to.
Substation?
Substation.
New York Times Magazine has called it the ultimate selfie mirror.
Oh, the ultimate
The
selfie
ultimate
mirror.
selfie mirror.
So we have this amazing design
Who did that?
building. His name is Ettore Sozzas.
Okay.
Yeah. He is an Italian designer in the mid-century.
This is the Cassie Family Education Wing.
See family education.
This is where many of our studio school classes will take place, as well as camps for the summer, spring, and fall. Take a look at this studio. This is our Mariel Clements Studio 1. This studio and 2 adjacent to it are flexible spaces where we'll have a variety of different classes taking place.
You're already
Right?
ready.
Yeah.
Drawing.
Exactly. So painting, drawing, mixed media. We've got some other classes that we're planning for this space, as well as our camps will happen. So when camps move in during the summer, studio school classes shift a little bit for teens and adults to accommodate the additional hours during the day that are dedicated to campers. But this is a space that's shared by both our Camp Contemporary program for young people and then our studio school program for teens and adults. We're starting a 0 to 4 art lab that'll happen here on Fridays. You can bring your kids, nieces, nephews, grandchildren into this space, and we'll provide some tools, activities, and approaches to introducing art and creativity. Because our exhibitions are free, we want to make sure that local teenagers, high school students know the resource that we have available to them in the city. So on May 2nd, there is our first inaugural Teen Night, for teens by teens. The Teen Arts Council is producing, curating, creating that entire experience for our teens. So we're really excited to launch that new program as well.
Okay.
We also have classes rolling out for teens as well. So there's multiple ways that teens can participate in our programming. And the Teen Night's a big party. We're hoping to get between 500 and 1,000 area teens through the doors that evening.
This is the exhibition that first came to me when the first time I came to Oklahoma and recognized how beautiful Oklahoma skies are. When I found out that the building was going to be called Folding Light and was really dealing with this idea of the Oklahoma light and the Oklahoma skies, this seemed like the perfect exhibition to sort of open it up and celebrate that aspect of Oklahoma, but also really look at how light has been an important part for artists throughout the centuries of creating a special kind of place in different ways. This is a work by Olafur Eliasson, who is originally from Iceland and Denmark, currently based in Berlin. It's called Black Glass Eclipse, and you can kind of see how as it rotates, it turns into this beautiful eclipse, which has been sort of a natural phenomena that's fascinated people for millennia. But the other thing that may be harder to see, and I might get a picture of you, if I'm allowed to get a picture of you, because you've got a great shirt on, yes, is that one of the things that says, can you go stand by your photographer there?
This is Dave, in case I didn't introduce you. This is Dave.
This is, and so it gets, it eliminates all color.
Weird.
And so, yes, if you
How
look
does
down
it
at
do
your
that?
shirt, it's
Whoa!
kind of like, it just goes from
My shirt's
red-
brown.
Yes.
It better not be like that when I leave.
It's permanent, I'm afraid. So all
You've been scanned.
It eliminates all the color, so it's right away makes you think about how light can drastically affect any kind of atmosphere you're in. Now, as it turns, you'll be able to look at yourself in this black mirror, because that's the black card is a black mirror, and it once again kind of reduces all color. Jody Glasgow. And of course, we needed to include photography in some way in this exhibition. They did a large trip around the West, were fascinated by the Western landscape, and then found this archive of old magazines called Arizona Highway. It's a magazine that became really famous for the travel photography that it included. And they turned it into sort of this interior of, what the West, how the West was kind of promoted, what the West looked like. All of these are printed on silk. So they're really soft and they're also very translucent. So the light comes through, it hits off these antique mirrors and so it came through and you're seeing two different landscapes kind of transposed on each other. This is Sophia Selman's major international artist. She just had a retrospective at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So we're able to work with these kinds of artists and bring these kinds of artists to Oklahoma City for the first time because we have, some of that blind stuff that Jeremiah was talking about, because we now have facilities that allow us to display these works.
The concept that Rand came up with, he had 13 different ideas he was working with and designs, and this was the one that we eventually, as an organization, ended up endorsing. We really like to focus on process, as you know, and to create experiences that allow people to have insight into the ideas and the materials and the iterations that artists go through to create the finished product that you see on a wall or in a theater. And we very much wanted this to be an experience that people could have some more access to. What is construction? How do all these things work together? We had literally thousands of people working on this project. And this is a way to honor that work and to let people know a little bit of insight in terms of how architects work, how builders work, and how all those things come together to create these environments that we walk through every day.
What we're doing with DJ School this year is really just kind of something that's way out of the box for the region. We're providing the opportunity for students to be able to learn on technology that they normally might not have an opportunity for. We're also giving them from grassroots beginnings up into the new age way of doing things. So we're starting with vinyl and taking them all the way to being able to work on a digital level and being able to do it professionally. And that's the big idea that we're really targeting right now. And we're bringing in some of the best in the industry, in the area, to come in and help with this and kind of help with the vibe and the look and the feel. So it's way out of the box, way new, way different. And this is something that's really cool. I'm excited about it. It's a big deal, real big deal. I'm ready for it. This is Oklahoma Contemporary. Jumping out of the box is kind of the norm here. So whenever we get a chance to just do something we don't see really happening in the community, but there's a demand for it, it's why not? Let's do it.
This is unique in terms of publicly accessible spaces. We've got a number of different classes we're rolling out that are connected to this particular space. As I mentioned, we've got sound design, we've got graphic design, we've got some additional things that we'll be rolling out that's connected to animation or filmmaking, fully loaded computers with all kinds of software. We've got a monitor here for teaching artists to be able to make some easier connections for the students. And then we have a large-scale printer, so we can print some really nice, gorgeous photographic works.
We have a wedding coming up that will have the ceremony on the north lawn. They'll come up these stairs, have cocktails on the terrace. They'll go inside, view the exhibition, upstairs to dinner in the theater, seated, formal, into the dance studio for a DJ dance. One-stop shopping, you can do it all right here. The theater actually also has dressing rooms, so the bride and her party can prepare themselves there. There are spaces for the grooms as well. But it's a really versatile space. Quite proud.
It's way better than the country. So cool. It's great. We had 20 dancers from Race Dance Collective here rehearsing yesterday for our opening event, so we've inaugurated the space with dance, which is very exciting. And this is also a flexible space for us. It'll be a spot for events, it'll be a place where we have meetings.
We're a collaborator, we're a catalyst, and we can be responsive.
And as we now have this amazing facility with all of our studio spaces, our galleries, the Oklahoma Gallery that we're currently inside of, our performance spaces, ultimately we'll be able to export the culture and the ideas that we're creating here at Oklahoma Contemporary in the state. And that exchange culturally, artistically is part of our mission and our goal. There's no entity that's opened like this in a generation.